I think we're gonna see
We're
it
back
soon.
into it, guys. Do you want to go to the hacking thing, or you want to try and go to the talkie thing?
Guess that's a question to the group. Do you want to try and ask Locust about the information we're looking after, or not?
Let's try and get it for free before we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Well, free is a relative thing when you're talking about Hex's ability to do stuff later, but okay.
I think the first thing I want to do is rest and get rid of those 4 points of stun damage.
Plus, Rod, I just like for the message, Rod bought a level 6 medkit, rating 6 medkit for 1,500. I think that's enough, and he would be actually willing to just babysit Hex and help her get better quicker. If that's a thing, Bams.
Yeah, this is stun, so it'll take 40 minutes, so it's really worth it.
You can't medkit fading.
Alright.
So what's the plan?
Hex hacking stuff.
Yep, so far, me resting for 40 minutes first to get rid of the stun.
Sure. You want to go ahead and roll your body plus willpower? Let's see how much you can recover.
Do I want to? Maybe. It depends on if I roll well.
Okay. Well. There you go. That's not that bad.
Yeah, that was good. That was real good.
All right. So what's the motion in the ocean?
I guess I'm going to have to like try and hack the hack back into the host. This time I have help.
Edge.
Well, if I recovered a point, then maybe.
I mean, from the sounds of things, it hasn't even been like a full day yet.
I don't think it
Suppose we
is.
wait a day.
Sure. If you guys want to wait a day, you will have 20 days left to complete the task.
All right, I'm gonna go help out in the shop for that day.
Sure. Anybody else want to do anything fun that day while you're waiting for Hex to kind of recover?
Don't really have much I can do.
Sure.
Yeah.
I will just send a message maybe to Big Bob and ask if he has like a van that matches the description of the general ambulance thing.
Sure. Go ahead and roll out his connection times 2 plus his loyalty, and we'll see what he's got.
Now, it's still the case that if we buy a van with the group money, it would not be going through Bob, right?
If you want to spend the 50 grand that you were given, it cannot go through Bob. Because it's going through the Johnsons.
Well, does it hurt? Does it hurt to ask Big Bob?
No. And if it turns out he doesn't have one at the moment, you can always ask him to kind of. Yeah, he's I forget what the hell it's called. Hold on.
Slime ball.
It's a GMC Endurance. And
That was what you mentioned last time.
yeah, I just had to find the name of the vehicle. He's got one. It is almost ready to go and be repainted. So if you wanted it in a specific paint job, say to match the ambulance, that is something that he could even arrange.
Here's a question about contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose we ask him to sell us an ambulance that is painted up to look like a dock wagon ambulance. How bad of an idea is that?
In which aspect do you mean?
I mean, if we ask Big Bob to paint us up an ambulance, and then anything happens with a fake dock wagon ambulance that tips anybody off.
What makes you think Big Bob is going to sell you something that has any kind of indicators on it that it will be traced back to him?
Plus, he has no incentive to, work with them in any case. So I guess that's pretty safe.
Okay.
How much would it cost? Is it the one with half price? Or is it the one with full price?
It would be half price, so it'd be like 16,000 Nuyen.
Okay, so that's an option. Guys, do we want one, or are we waiting for Hex?
He can hold on to it for a while because you got 5 hits. He's got other things he can have painted before then.
Sure, I'm gonna ask him to hold off on it, and I'm gonna thank him really nice. So Hex, do your thing.
It'll be later in the evening when Hex is feeling good.
Sweet.
I don't know, Jet could come by the shop and see if my guy can sell him on some kind of an adept thing.
I'm not sure if I have enough karma. In fact, I actually have no karma available. I'm currently looking through automatic assault rifles just in case I need to provide a long-range distraction.
Hex, would you like to be drugged while you're hacking? Because I have drug knowledge, and I can probably try to get you Psych, which gets you +1 intuition, +1 logic, and +1 mental limit while you're hacking.
Yeah, do drugs. Come on, do drugs. Everybody's.
I mean, it is the last run.
I mean,
Well, be high.
we are Shadowrunners. This is actually one of the least dangerous things we're doing.
Until we have to fight the ghost of Nancy Reagan.
Hex?
Oh, I don't have banishing.
Because I could retroactively look for drugs. Hex, do you want drugs? Do you want drugs or not?
Hex, the first taste, it's free.
No, it's not.
Hex might be muted or something, maybe?
What are you doing to me, Ross?
Absolutely horrible, guys. What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to raise your chance. Get you +2 or 1 dice or anything. Plus your mental limit, which is probably +1 success. And it's actually a relatively harmless drug.
And I'm trying to get you that for free, but Rod's not really going with it.
No, because this is not, I'm not gonna profit from it.
That's how you know he's an honest drug dealer.
Exactly. Hex
How are
is
you going to try and sell that to Hex?
this is actually probably going to be exactly like I said it. I can raise your capabilities by some medical, let's say medical materials. I'm going to say drugs. I can try to raise your mental capabilities, and you will probably be able to withstand more punishment and achieve more success. Are you interested in that at all?
Rod, when you do it for a good reason, it's medicine.
Medicine. I'm gonna give you medicine.
See, that sounds better. Hex wouldn't necessarily be as against that because I actually have no ranks in medicine, just first aid.
Okay.
Think of this as second aid.
Okay, so Psych doesn't even have availability. It's just 200 million a dose.
Correct.
So I would just get one or 2, let's say.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna. Should Hex? Okay, I'm gonna detract it from me. This is my idea. So I'm gonna buy you some drugs, which you're gonna immediately snort.
Some medicine.
You don't snort medicine, Rod.
And you're gonna ingest this. This is vector ingestion. So yeah. About an hour before you start hacking, just ingest this, and it should get better.
What do you have that raises charisma?
Plus, Sue, this is actually something you would be interested in as well because it nullifies. I mean, it lessens the effect of sustained spells by 1, so it's not -2; it's -1 for a spell.
Maybe. I don't really sustain spells apart from my
I
thing.
think Nova Coke is the charisma one, if I'm remembering correctly.
Huh.
I don't think so, but you know.
It is.
No,
Yeah, it is.
I think he's right. I'm just not sure that that's in character.
I can get you some. You wanna?
Suddenly,
What is
Suddenly everything-
Cerebrax?
Oh, it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. It's like
Is
+2
it?
logic, +2 intuition.
Oh, that's not for me. I don't
Where
know
is
that
it?
part of my brain.
Where is it?
It's on a web page I found, but there are no details.
Hold on, I'll find out what book it is in.
Because I have a lot of knowledge about stuff, I could maybe get it or try to get it, and I have black markets, so I could maybe get it even more.
It's in
Bamce,
Flesh.
if you get a bonus, yeah, I believe so. If you get a bonus from a substance, does that
Yep,
go against your Aug Max?
sure does.
Oh, never
It's
mind.
in Chrome Flash, right?
Yep.
No.
I'm already as high as I can be on life.
It is +2 intuition, +3 logic, +2 mental limit, and you gain analytical mind for a little while.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, pixie dust increases your charisma.
Whoa. That's just sugar.
I mean,
and
that's
glass. Ground
Yeah.
up glass.
It's delicious. So, yeah, what's the dealio?
I just realized Hex is going to be high forever. Thank you, thank you, Rod.
Sure, anytime.
Sorry.
We can talk about possible drugs later.
So are we starting with the hacking then?
I mean, like a half hour later, it sounds like we might be. Like, I get that you're scared, Hex, but I believe in you.
Plus your high
I
as
believe in me,
balls.
just not the dice.
You're feeling really good right now. Just go for it.
Yeah, just remember you have +1 logic and +1 intuition on that. And +1 mental limit.
Let's see about that hacking.
Do an addiction roll, you can just take some more, and that'll help you with it.
I can get you more.
Are you using a sprite for assistance?
Not necessarily just yet, not to get in anyway.
Okay.
Since I'm high as a kite, I might feel a little more confident.
You definitely want Novacoke for that.
Everything is a good idea suddenly.
Hold my beer.
We should register every sprite.
Let's hack Zurich Orbital.
Dude, we'd be legendary.
For a few seconds, anyway.
Whoa, I don't think I can get you Cerebrax. It's 14F availability.
Hex, how are you feeling about your 2 successes?
Well, since this is just the roll to get in, I can always reset the brain.
All right, so you're not edging then.
Disappointed.
Yes, I only have
Bamce
1
is
point.
disappointed.
Just want to make sure you are marked, sir.
I'm gonna
Oh.
try.
Wow, it worked better than I thought. Hex was just thrown back in the Matrix.
Yeah, I am definitely resetting my brain on that one.
Okay. Beep boop robot hex.
I said, "Damn it! Why'd you have to roll so many successes?"
Why did you have to roll so few?
The world may never know.
Yeah, obviously, Bamps, you should let me borrow a couple of your successes.
That's a good idea. We should definitely be rolling negotiation with every roll to try and get Bamps to give us some of his successes.
Sure.
Less whining, more criming.
Still a robot.
Mm-hmm.
So, what exactly happens in a tie, Bamps?
Defender always wins.
Did you win?
No.
Then you are marked.
Well, crap. Reset my head again. Charm, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's not looking too much better. Oh, Bamps, you suck so bad.
Yep.
You get to mark experience.
Wrong game.
Actually, from what I'm looking at, you suck so bad, Hex.
I know. But I'm having to hack against something with like 17 dice. That's like really hard to hack.
Why do we fall down, Bruce?
um,
Why don't you whistle up a new sprite?
That's true. I could whistle up a new sprite. I'll probably do that instead then. If I can roll half decent. Although I don't know, Bamps' rolls have scared me.
I mean, you knew the oomph of the host you were going after.
That's not what scares me. It's the horror of the dice that roll me like 2 successes and you like 14.
What level crack sprite?
5. Because I need all the help I can get.
Damn it.
That looks cool.
That'll be 6 points of fade.
You suck, Bamps.
Just got knocked the fuck out.
Do you use the points that the drug gave you?
You mean the +1? Yes.
Hmm.
You were rolling 96 before you took the drug.
True.
Because unfortunately, there is no drug that adds to resonance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yet.
Yeah, Rod, don't you have drug knowledge? Come up with something.
I tried. I got 1 success.
Yeah, it wasn't working too well for him.
You
You
gonna
need chemistry.
you gonna roll that fade resist there, bro?
No, because it sucks.
Oh, okay.
Then you take
That's
full
pretty.
fade.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but I still took 2 fade.
You're doing okay.
And I still have to try and recompile that sprite.
So how about calling a locust, guys? I mean, Hex is sitting there getting, blood from his nose all the time, waking up and going back into the VR and stuff.
She hasn't taken any real damage.
So that's the border. That's the line we're waiting to cross.
Well, I mean, she's not bleeding from her nose.
Yeah, if she's bleeding from her nose, it's fine. We wait till she's bleeding.
I guess that's good that you cut out.
Just pull him up on speed dial, all right?
Okay, I'm gonna
But let's
attach
not
my
jump the gun.
I'm gonna attach my bio monitor to Hex as she's hacking to monitor her vitals.
Why? She's got a biomonitor in her suit.
So I'm gonna check that.
Hex, listen very carefully. Channel your inner jet. Forget the pain, do some crazy awesome stuff.
I'm trying, but so far the dice are still killing me.
Put on that song that I posted. Yes.
I guess Bamce is going to roll some dice here in a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that you came back from war.
I don't know why I did. Damn it, Bamce.
Was that another 6 fade?
Sure was.
Holy
I
hell,
sure
what
was
kind of
when it was
spirits?
listed even worse.
What kind of sprites are you? Are you summoning level 6 sprites?
5.
5. It's just on 5 dice. Bamce is getting like 3 and 4 successes.
Try
Versus my
4 then.
lack of ability to roll with that crap. Well, the thing is, he gets 2 per hit. So less dice would help. But Bamce is rolling quite well above statistical average.
He'll regress to the mean eventually. Keep at it.
3 years later.
That's what I was thinking. Wow.
If If we keep feeding Hex drugs, we may be able to convince her to just storm the facility by herself.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
What? That doesn't sound very useful. Like, why would you want Hex to storm the facility by herself?
We can get the feel for their security this way.
Yeah, we can measure their response.
You trying to compile more, or what's up?
I'm gonna have to take a break. I'm hurting now.
Alright, give Vulture, whatever the hell his name was, a call.
Can you do me a favor and roll your logic plus sleaze real quick?
By the way, Jet, I just found that there's a drug called Blood of Kali. That gives you +3 body, +3 agility, +4 strength, and +1 willpower, and you go berserk if wounded. And you get high pain tolerance 3. Would you be interested in something like this?
Awakened drugs are messed up, man. I'm good.
Are you sure?
Quite. Thank you.
Now, was that
Dude,
a logic plus sleaze or bad logic plus sleaze?
Sorry, was it what?
Oh wait, I get one more dice. My bad.
You also get -1 for wounded.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot to put my wound penalty in there, so that should equal out.
Okay.
What?
It's a question I ask myself every day.
So what are you guys doing after Hex apparently turns and runs, tail between her legs?
Aside from considering outsourcing,
Also, show of hands. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, I'm gonna give Locust a call and ask him for the same thing. So connection plus loyalty, 2 times connection plus loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
or if he knows anybody on the inside who is willing to sell their morals.
Or have them taken.
Okay, so this is actually a valid question because for each question he's gonna probably want like have a different price. So what are we looking for? The plans, the wimp, or someone?
I would say the plans and the wimp second.
Okay.
So that would be blueprints and client database.
He is motherfucking well connected. Bams?
Sorry. Spaced out there for a second because I'm a terrible person. I see 8 hits. Damn.
I know, right?
So you're calling him up, and he's obviously going to answer. He's like, "What can I do for you, sir?"
I'm looking to acquire blueprints for a facility, and do you have it available? And I show him like which facility, and I expressly state that this is. I want no one to know that I asked this question.
Let me just double check. Okay. It's like I think I can help you with that. You hear a little bit of a twinge in his voice that's like, all right, this is something's a little off about his readiness to hand these guys over.
Okay. As in, do you have something you want done there? Is it something I can help you with?
I tell you what, roll your. I feel like your judge intentions or something along those lines. to see if I might. Because sadly, you don't have common sense or anything along those lines.
Can I edge my judge intentions?
If you want, I mean, you don't. This isn't for anything like super crazy important.
2.
All right. So this is more of a putting 2 and 2 together kind of situation. Like, you know that you're not the only people that are working on stuff involving this place and this whole situation. So his readiness to serve may be indicative that somebody else has asked for very similar information. You may not be the first person to ask about information on this, so he may already have it on hand.
Okay.
I wonder what else he already has on hand.
Well, I mean, since he doesn't have to go through any real effort for us.
Well, we don't know that specifically, but you know, I can negotiate for that.
It's a bit of a hunch, we'll call it.
Okay. So I definitely want this. Now, do you also happen to know? Oh, wait, stop. We should be the only ones taking care of the facility. So who else wants to try it?
Should be.
Or somebody else is doing something in the facility.
It's just a hunch that somebody else may have asked him about information involving Dockwagon.
Can I be blunt and just ask a question, like
Sure.
about the hunch? Okay, so do you know anything else about stuff going on in the facility? Because
Are you asking me or are you asking him?
I'm asking him.
So not at current. I've had, shall we say, previous inquiries a couple weeks ago.
As in other people who wanted to do stuff, or high level contact stuff.
Well, let's. You already mentioned that you wanted to. Shit. What was the word you said? You wanted nobody else to know that you were looking into this, and it's a little. I mean, I guess it's a little of an accident on Rob's part for just kind of giving that away because he's probably would have. Let's go under the assumption that he kind of hid it a little bit, but you were able to kind of weasel it out of him that he didn't admit that somebody else was looking for this stuff, but he didn't admit that nobody was not looking for this stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kinda.
So, because he's the kind of person that's going to operate on a you pay me not to talk about it kind of place, he's not going to be like, yes, I had somebody looking for this exact information 2 weeks ago. But he's going to kind of play around specifically saying, yes, I had somebody look into this 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
He's basically covering his ass so that when somebody says that, if somebody comes and was like, nope, I didn't say those words.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, guys, is there something we can do with that? Should we ask about like a previous Shadowrunner team that just died in there or something?
I don't see how it would affect us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's drop it. So
I think at most we should just be aware that we might encounter some others.
We're
okay.
going to try and see if he has their client files. See if we can match that lot number to a name.
Or
So
just
first,
get
we
the
have
location
the
of the lot
blueprints.
number.
Yeah, we have the blueprints.
No, we have the lot number.
Yeah, but the location where it's stored, unless we can get that off the plans.
Can we, Bamce? I don't think so.
You don't have the plans yet. You have not given this.
Oh, right,
anybody.
right.
You have just gotten a lot of hits, so you may ask him about a lot of information.
Okay. So if I can ask him about a lot of information, and so maybe I should ask about this 2-week thing, like about what's going on, what's happening in there, and I can pay him for it if he wants to.
We don't want him to give us that information for money.
So I can ask for it first and then maybe default to money.
No, I mean, we don't want the next person that gets 8 hits talking to him to be able to get that information for money about us.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
One thing, where they get their power from,
Money.
Sure.
and if they have backup generators.
So, first of all, the blueprints for the facility. Second of all, let's say information on third-party contractors working with this facility of any kind, maybe. And third of all, if it's possible, like I'm thinking of a question about people working in the facility that could go in and out, but I don't know how to frame the question.
Personnel.
But like specific kind, because asking him just about everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
Any personnel with access to the majority of the facility who may or may not be in need of cash.
That.
I feel like we would be asking for their personnel database, and we do the analysis.
Either someone who has access to it, or like the personal database, just straight outright.
Yeah, but the thing is, we wouldn't be able to know who could be bought.
We could. We would analyze the personnel records. They would have some kind of infractions. They might have some kind of issues with other employees.
Someone is paid more or less.
Notes about debt. You know, people that are passed over for promotion. We could, with Rod's logic, we could do that analysis.
Okay. By the way, 3 questions, Bamce. Like the blueprints, the any third-party contractors that are working with the facility, if that's possible, and eventually the personnel database, if that's possible. Hush money involved.
So it'll be like, yeah, I can get you most of that stuff. I don't have in-depth personnel records on the entire facility, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have some information in that regard. It's
So how much are we looking at?
how much you looking to spend? Because I can give you a little, I can give you a lot. I can, well, we're gonna start at about 1,000 for the hush money, just because this is a pretty serious thing, and you've already kind of hurt me a little bit.
Aw, don't be so soft, Locust.
Whoa.
Sure.
So, for the blueprints, and these are a couple of years out of date, but we will continue to talk. The blueprints will probably run you about 3,000 million. The contractors, well, the most up-to-date stuff that I have on that's going to run you about 2. And we're going to have to talk a little bit more about the personnel, because I don't really have in-depth personnel files. But for the right price, I can point you towards a guy with a nasal problem.
He's talking about Nova Coke.
Ah, thanks, Jet. How much is that gonna cost me?
Well,
Or is it free of charge? Haha.
that's going to depend, because you see, this is my guy who feeds me some of this information. So, as such, I'm going to need certain guarantees about his safety. And should his safety come into more significant question, well, let's just say I might need some reimbursement.
Locust, I enjoy working with you. I do not intend to hurt your contacts in any way.
Rod,
Yes.
we want a definition of security. I'm pretty sure we can guarantee him the guy's not going to get killed. But if he were to lose his job...
Sure, we asked this. Are you saying like meeting him somewhere discreet, or just keeping contact to a bare minimum stuff? Like how precarious is his position?
So this locust guy is giving us this guy and giving us a lever.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just asking Locust, like the definition of safety.
He knows we want to lean on this guy, so he's got to know that might end up costing the guy in some way. If he's just looking for us to guarantee that we're not going to kill the dude, that's easy.
If we put his job at risk, we put his Locust's information flow at risk.
Yeah, I understand
that. That raises the question of why would he have even told us that?
Because you got 8 hits.
Yeah.
Oh.
Normally, he would not give up like a potential guy that he has. But
yeah.
You guys got 8 hits, so I got to give you something really good for that. You know, the
But
blueprints
so
and
the really good thing with the caveat that we can't really use it.
No, it's the good thing that you can't ruin it. There's a lot that you can do with this person that doesn't involve.
He could accidentally forget the back door open a little bit.
Okay, Locust, I'm sure we can talk about reimbursement after, because I can guarantee you we will do everything in our power not to ruin this for you.
That's good.
If something happens, I'm willing to cover any damage expenses.
Yep. And for clarity, this guy is a source of information inside the facility, so really anything that's going to hurt his capability of maintaining that position is going to require some reimbursement. Just so we're clear.
We are clear.
Okay. Did anybody pay attention to the numbers that I just gave out? It was 1, 3, 2.
3, 2,
1 for
3,
the
2,
hush.
1.
Blast off.
Yeah, that's 6 total without any money for the guy for now. Didn't say anything.
So, my guy, for me to get you in contact with him, is going to cost you 1,000 new yen. He himself may have charges because, as I said, he's got a real serious nasal problem.
We have a giant that is good with negotiating. We can deal with that.
All right then.
I'm not a giant Coke dealer.
I'm a dealer. You're a giant.
Oh,
All right, Master Blaster this shit. Let's go.
Yeah. Are we gonna spend it from the? No, not really. We're not gonna spend it. Okay, we have 6,000 among us. I'm gonna assume at least. I'm not paying for this shit all alone.
I don't know. He's your friend.
I can chip in.
I mean, it's information is gonna save your butt.
How many of us are there? 5.
I've got a couple thousand.
So we need like 1,200 apiece.
Sure, something like this.
Perfectly doable.
Okay, so we're spending 1,200 a person for paying him for all the stuff. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Sure. And he will send you over some. Nah, he's not going to send it over the Matrix. He'll give you an address that you can pick up some data chips in a bus stop locker.
I was hoping for a mailbox. The single last mailbox in Seattle.
I mean, that would be really suspicious. It would probably have this is a historic mailbox, the first mailbox in Seattle. Therefore, it is the last,
Yeah.
Or it just says dead drop on the side in spray paint.
That gives me a name for a thing later on.
Excellent. Glad to help.
Yep.
Okay. So can someone maybe write on the board or something? My screen is acting up. Like on the virtual table, what we got.
Okay, so what did we get?
You got a comp code for a guy. You got the blueprints, and then you got a list of some of the contractors. And I've got a kitten. And she is.
Yay!
Yeah, we know.
She's such a squirmy.
I'm not jealous, I promise.
She's so cute and tiny. Oh my god.
Is she fluffy? Is she fluffy and gray?
I mean, she's mostly gray, but she's got a bit of like orange and other colors going on.
You should definitely give her a bath and then blow dry her.
No, that sounds terrible.
That will
Bamce,
make her very poofy.
we've got to like either start you an Instagram account or do your own kitten blog or live stream, okay?
I mean, I could just upload videos of her to my YouTube. Be the
Yeah.
most popular
It would
thing on
get
there.
you. Yeah.
You should edit them in whenever we take a break.
Like, here's my kitten.
We're bad men who do bad things, alright?
That will be the official interlude video.
Okay, so we look at the data. We look at first of all, we look at the blueprints. What can we get out of the blueprints? The blueprints indicate the areas and stuff. Do we get where the WIMP is from it?
If you want to go ahead and roll like some kind of industrial engineering to make some sense out of it, because there's a bunch of stuff here.
Like mechanics stuff? Industrial mechanics? Or knowledge skill?
I mean, if you have either or both.
Okay, so it's 11, so it's logic plus skill, plus maybe my whatever? I don't think so. No, my whatever isn't the logic, so 11 dice, I guess.
Is anybody else smart that could help him?
Maybe. But I am kind of beat up.
I rolled 2, that's not a lot. Although, is that like an extensive test I could do?
If you want to do it, if you guys want to invest time into getting more information out of that, specifically the blueprints, you can totally do that.
I would probably sit around and study the plans, just like, preparing for the job, so I could probably do that.
2 bonus dice help. Probably not much.
I mean, you can roll your 2 bonus dice and we'll see.
Jet, did you do all the drugs that you have before looking?
Jet's
One
got
more-
no drugs.
One more success.
Okay.
So 3 success.
Would that be intuition or logic as a knowledge skill?
It would be logic.
It wouldn't matter because, unfortunately, Hex is going to be high for the next, 8.5 hours or so.
Is this a bonus for me, or is this Dante trying?
I think it's a bonus for you.
So 2 more dice, right?
1 more dice, because you only have 3 ranks in the skill, if memory serves.
Oh, right. Nope. So 4 success, right? 3 successes total.
If you guys want to extended test this, you can roll again, but you're going to be spending like a couple of hours at this.
Aren't we waiting for Hex to heal anyway?
I'd say it's worth a couple of hours at least to properly understand the blueprints of the building that we are about to interact with.
Yeah, I mean, we spent several grand on them.
So I'm rolling all of the dice again.
Yeah, you're going to roll 13 dice, because that'll be your... You have like 2 extra people helping you, so you're going to max out your assist bonus.
I have 13 basic knowledge about this, so...
I thought you said you had 11.
No, sorry, it is 11, so
Right.
13, so it's... Okay, so it's 13.
Right, because you're going to go up +3 because of your assist. But since it's an extended test, you're going to knock it down 1. You're up to
8.
8.
8 successes.
Yeah.
Total.
And we're going to go at like 2 hours per extended test. So it is up to you on if you want to go into the night here.
I mean, I could not sleep. I have the sleep regulator thing going on, so I sleep only 3 hours a day. So I
One
could.
of those.
I mean, while everybody's sleeping, I could work on the blueprint some more, like, nerd style. That's absolutely a thing. since nobody else is doing anything.
Sure.
So again,
Yeah, if you want to keep going.
since we're not doing anything right, okay. Seriously.
You're up to 9.
Okay, guys, it's 9 successes enough? I think so.
What's the threshold?
Maybe that was a sign from God that there's not much I can get out of it more.
How many do we need before he magically understands everything? Like, isn't there a point where he would know?
There is, but I don't tell you the threshold.
Oh.
You know, like I don't have to tell you the threshold, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you
won't
want
tell
to?
us the threshold.
I mean, more so because I don't really have a threshold in mind, because I'm a bad person.
Can you come up with
9.
one?
Yeah. Because, I mean, if I'm not even close, I'm gonna keep on doing this. If I just stare at the map and it's blank and I don't understand stuff, I'm gonna keep doing this throughout the night, since I have a lot of time when they're
Well,
sleeping.
eventually you run out of dice.
It's true, you do eventually run out of dice, but you've
Yeah.
got an okay handle on things. Like, I feel confident that I could tell you a bunch of details about the structure, but I'm not sure how crazy you want to get into it.
Crazy, really crazy. Like Dock Wagon security levels of crazy.
Well, then you're gonna have to keep rolling if you want to get crazy.
I wanna get crazy. I'm gonna not sleep. I can not sleep twice as long as other people.
Sure. Remember, you lose a die every time, so that second 13 that you rolled should have actually been 9, because you're not getting your assist dice, because your other people aren't helping, unless they are staying up and helping.
Okay, so 9, now 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You're at 12.
that's 12. I guess. How much does it give me? It's like late at night stuff situation, so 2 hours, right?
It was like 2 hours per each roll. You got this stuff at like 6 o'clock yesterday, because it was kind of right after Hex ran away. So that's 4 tests. That's 8 hours. It's probably into the early morning now.
So you guys are gonna get up seeing Rod sort of like with like a coffee and something, still looking at the map, or whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more. So I'm up to what, 16. And that's what I'm gonna cut it. Like, I've been studying this map for friggin' like
Ever.
He's gone to his last can of Minotaur power.
Yeah.
Oh god, with a
If
little
there's-
like starburst around it.
Yeah.
If there's something to know about it, I know it. If there's not, it's not. So yeah. 16 successes is a lot.
Sure is.
I don't know. I got a good
You only
night's sleep and got
three.
up early to do Tai Chi in the park, so I'm good.
Gross. Alright, so the first thing you're going to notice is that these are maybe like 10 years out. Just because it's, you'll find a date here and there and that kind of stuff to give you ideas of how old these are, because, he said they weren't quite up to date. But the good news is how often does a physical building require a complete remodel where you're ripping down walls and stuff? Thankfully, not very often.
I mean, this is a hospital we're talking about.
Yeah, and there would actually be easily verifiable data. It wasn't like Dock Wagon before, so if it was, they wouldn't probably mess up their whole lab all the time.
Right. The other thing you're going to notice that this is more functional than fashionable. There are 2 large basement, like one level down, areas that are just kind of big open areas that don't really seem like to have anything specifically like mapped out on there as, but they do have heavy utility draw. They're rated for higher wattage of electricity. They're rated for, water filtration. The one place to set up it looks like it has a clean room in front of it, like one of those decontamination things. So there's those two rooms downstairs that are kind of eye-catching.
They're two separate rooms.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write with like white chalk on the blueprint or in AR bingo with a question mark.
Upstairs, it's going to have a couple of things that seem to be built up like labs. Like there is gas hookups and electric and water and that kind of stuff. Some of the surrounding facility, it's kind of, the walls are extra thick. The underground parking thing is also on here, where it has a connection to the second basement. Like there's the first basement, and there's I guess a second basement, like a second floor down again. I don't know what the actual term for it is.
Sub-basement?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sub basement, Professor X.
That
styles.
is connected to the underground parking. The underground parking is 3 levels.
I'm sorry, which floor was the potential WIMP storage?
The
on?
basement, -1.
Okay.
Did I ever mention how tall the actual building was?
Not really.
It was a little larger than a medium-sized building. I think you
it was
said
like-
5.
Yeah, 5 stories, and I'm assuming it's a lot wider than it is tall.
That sounds about right. What kind of questions do you guys have about the building itself before I? Oh, one thing you will notice is that the helicopter pad, there is like a storage space on the first floor that it can be like rolled into the building. That's another pretty obvious thing on there.
Does this cover the ventilation system?
It does.
What is the access to the potential?
The two questionable places.
Yeah.
The one that has the like decontamination room is like the ventilation system also kind of pipes into there and has like its own filtration and clean system to make sure that nothing gets into that room.
And the room itself?
I'm sorry, what do you mean by in the room itself?
There's a clean room that has its own special filtration system.
Mm-hmm.
What about after the clean room, when we enter what we hope is the WIMP storage?
A clean room's a clean room's a clean room. It's just a air shower decontamination chamber before the clean room proper, but it's all going to be filtered.
No, I mean, what about when we enter the storage?
I mean, that stuff's all going to be kind of taken from the whatchamacallit, like a sealed system, I guess. Like it would have a separate system that has its own filtration stuff that is disconnected from the whole facilities.
Is there any outlet
It just kind of pipes
or
up.
connection?
Sorry, is there any what?
Any connection? I mean, they got to be pumping oxygen into there if it's
on
a closed loop, right?
It's like its own filtration system to get air in, but the air that it brings out, it just kind of dumps out into the facility as a whole. And then there's a filter or I don't know, I'm not an air conditioning tech, but there's a thingy to keep air from coming back in.
Okay.
Check valve.
Sure. I don't know anything about plumbing or...
Okay, I'm writing down most of the stuff that you are saying. If you guys hear anything you think is interesting, please write it down as well.
I'm just going to a mental picture right now.
Okay. So we see all of that stuff from the. Does the in or the out of the possible WIMP system? No, sorry, possible WIMP storage place. So the only two ins and outs is from one place the clean room, and the other would possibly be the air dump thing. If we break it or something.
The idea of landing a drone on a guy kind of goes out the window.
Yes.
Because anybody that goes into that clean room, they're going to be putting on a bunny suit over whatever they're wearing before they go into the next room.
It's still possible that we could access the room itself via the dump. Are there any listings for the material for the valve itself? Are there any sensors that might be listed or inferred for that area? What's the dimensions in terms of drone size of the ducts?
Okay, so let's roll back through that a little bit. There's no listings of like the intended security measures on this. If you guys, now that you have it, if you want to roll like a security procedures or security design, we can give more information in that regard. The air filtration system is like super serious air filtration from the looks of the size of the ductwork and that kind of stuff. You're probably not getting, if there was, what's the word I want? Wear and tear, and that like a hole opened up, you could probably get a fly spy through, but as designed, it is not going to have space for that.
Probably use a dragonfly to cut through the filters.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And I was thinking
we could do that. So they're going to have some kind of micropore filter.
But as soon as I get through the filter, I'm gonna assume the facility is gonna have some kind of an alarm going on that the filter is going bad. So
there would at least be a notification that maintenance was required. Otherwise, why bother having the filter?
Yeah.
And I mean, while we're there, you know, if they're already coming to look, we may as well just go through the check valve with a bit of thermite.
There is also the list of contractors. If we get someone who's taking care of the valves, I could pose as a mechanic or something.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Do we know if they outsource their HVAC, whatever that would be called?
So they have a, it's not called Dock Wagon, but they have their own, because Dock Wagon is its own corporation. They have their own crew that does the maintenance repairs that kind of goes around the places. If you guys want, I can come up with a name for that.
Air wagon.
What?
Floor Industrial Services.
Speedwagon.
Vac wagon.
So a FIS.
They also have a couple of other interesting contracts. They have contracts with just about every major corporate industry that is here in Seattle. Mostly for them to contract out to their various people, because you know it is Dock Wagon, so they are going to be like, oh, let us carry your health insurance and your fancy people, and these are the services we supply. They have kind of like you can call on the National Guard in situations of extreme emergency. They have what looks like a contract with Knight Errant to supplement their forces in times of need.
I think we're looking mostly for who are they paying to come in and do stuff.
That's what he was telling us.
I was kind of telling you when it goes both ways. Similarly, like Knight Errant is allowed to kind of come on property. You know, obviously they've got some restrictions on where they can go, but they can like, hey, you know. Their maintenance stuff is all in-house. They have a I don't think it would be like a Zurich orbital. Like they have an outgoing matrix supplemental security, which I believe would probably just be knight errant. Um, is there anything else in particular you guys were looking for?
Sewage.
I feel
Power.
like I feel like that's all covered through the city.
Are backup generators listed in the prints?
You don't see like you see a space that's got extra insulation, which with your piles of hits would probably be where they would keep that kind of stuff, but no details on how much power could actually be kept there, and that's on a third floor sub basement.
Yeah,
So
I mean, just as long as it's there.
Yeah.
A
That's what I
backup
need to know.
generator would, take up the amount of space that a generator takes up. There would also be an area for the tank, and there would be access for a fuel truck. And they would have a contract with a fuel delivery company, not only to refill the generator as needed and cycle the fuel, but they would also have a contract that would guarantee that in the event of a full power outage, they would be able to resupply within X hours.
The See, this is where not knowing which corporations are into what. That contract will be through the like refill and resupply that for that would be through. Oh, I'm trying to think who's big on that, but I don't really know. I'm gonna go with Aries, I guess, because I think they're big in the South, with like Texas and stuff.
Yeah. So there could be Aries, there could be
It's like a subsidiary, like
whatever that
way down the
whirlwind
chain.
Middle Eastern company is, Desert Sandstorm maybe, or maybe whoever took over Maersk, maybe Wuxing.
I'm just gonna say Aris sub for now.
Yeah, it's probably simple.
We could just call them fuel guys,
5 guys, burgers, and fuel.
Yes.
Okay, I mean, I'm getting pretty excited. That's a lot of info we got. That's a night well spent. Do we need something extra? So we generally know where the thing should be. We know where the generator probably is. We could maybe try to pose as the generator guys, but that's up for grabs. Some labs upstairs, but that doesn't concern us really. We know that there's a ventilation system connected to the WIMP storage facility vaguely, or just that ends near it, and that there is an air dump that could be possibly an entrance of some kind, mostly for spying maybe. The building has 5 stories. There's a helicopter pad that folds, but that's, I think, of no use to us unless we want to like sneak in through there somehow.
So Rod, how is your performance?
Terrible. I could be saying the truth that I can actually, mechanic stuff, but I'm terrible at performance. I have like 2 charisma, I think, and I'm defaulting at performance.
I'm trying to think about what it would take, because I think the air supply is probably a non-starter because they do it internally, which means we need to get somebody in as a new employee that can convincingly portray a technician for that. I don't know if that's possible.
I didn't want to be...
Angle.
Okay, I didn't want to be the stay at the car rigger, but I guess it's probably going to be better if I'm going in as some kind of a technician drone. I could get into my mechanic drone, whatever, and follow someone, and take care of the blueprints for whatever we are saying we are wanting to repair. I think. I don't know.
So, Bamce, is this the sort of thing? So, if 2 people went, and one of them was convincing, and the other one was technical, could they joint fake being technicians?
I mean, maybe.
Depends on how you play it and how the dice roll.
Yeah.
I could play mute.
I can't be like,
So-
yes, this will totally work, and then when you roll dice and they fail because dice are awesome like that, be like, sorry guys, you can
Well,
be like,
no,
but you told me it would work.
I'm not looking for a guarantee. I'm looking for an estimation. Would that be worth doing? Is there a reasonable chance that it could work?
It depends upon all of the other factors in play. Like,
Or would it be like the charming guy is going to be limited by his own logic no matter how smart the other guy is, and the other guy is going to be limited by his charisma no matter how technical, whatever?
the question that comes up is, what happens when somebody asks you a tech question?
Then I answer.
Right. And what happens the second time somebody else asks you a tech question? Asks Sue a tech question, let me be clear.
Depends on how you play it and how the dice roll.
Like,
Okay.
and the number of those kinds of tech questions you get asked depends upon how everything else went and whether or not you guys have done other things to raise suspicion. For example,
Right.
yesterday, they were hacked. They know that somebody was in there messing around. They know that today, somebody has poked their host several times.
So, is there any kind of a thing, like, so if we were doing this for real, like, and I were really the friendly giant guy and Rot was, like, super logical and knowledgeable, before we tried to go in and pose as something we're not, we would spend a couple of days with him, like, giving me a primer on stuff and, like verbiage to memorize and things like that. Is there anything like that?
You could spend some karma on the appropriate skill.
Okay, but there's not really like here's a crash course so you can fake it.
I mean, I could potentially see giving you some situational bonus dice, depending upon how much time you wanted to devote towards practicing. But it's the kind of thing where, like, I could tell you about all kinds of things that I do all day, and then 2 days later, in a high-pressure situation, I ask you about those things I told about. Do you remember them? If yes, you've probably spent karma on them to learn them as a skill.
Realistically, Sue wouldn't be the choice. I would actually go with Dante because, one, he's better at con, and two, he has those that no soft stuff.
Yeah, Dante would be a better choice to front that.
Almost as if he's a better con man.
No idea what you're talking about.
See, there he goes.
Okay, there you go, yeah.
So is the angle in which we enter, like, let's say, me and Dante, right, inside and pose as mechanics of some kind? Is this the plan we're not trying to formulate?
Well, we're trying to see if it would be reasonable, because that would also require hacking you guys both into the personnel database. And
oh, by the way, the guy. It would be nice to finish the business with the guy at least today. Or Bamce, would it be?
Business with what guy?
The snorting guy.
Man.
Well, are we going to use them, and how are we going to use them? Kind of need that first.
We don't have any idea how that person would come into play.
So we kind of have to probably visit him and ask him, sort of, just tell him that we got his contact and then we need this and that, and how they're gonna respond. It's gonna be like a roleplay situation type of thing.
Well, but we need to know what we're trying to achieve before we start that.
I want to pay value for this and that.
You can't just walk up and be like, "Yo, we're trying to fuck up this wimp. How can you help us?"
Yeah.
Okay. I don't
roll a lot of hits.
I don't fully understand why not, but okay. Bamce,
how would you approach him?
Bamce, did I have any indication of who is he as this contact?
The only real information you have about him is he has some kind of nasal problem, which you guys were then like, Novacoke. And that you guys know that he is loyalty loose, we'll call it.
Okay.
Because he has obviously sold information to your contact, so...
Okay, so...
If he's capable of stealing... okay.
Bam.
Sorry.
If he is capable of stealing information, then he either has the sort of position where he has easy access to it, like possibly a spider or just, some sort of decking or IT position, or he's higher up.
So the ideal role that I see that guy playing is not so much leaning on him to do it himself, but maybe he's got access to their personnel database, and we can, from him, find somebody else that isn't tied to somebody we know.
Okay, just so we have any kind of leverage, can I use any skill to interpret what Locust said is a nasal problem? Is it like a medical check, or like is it indeed Novacoke, or is this just an actual thing?
Unless he, as a Dockwagon employee, has an actual like medical issue, you're pretty sure it's a drug problem. Like, unless
Okay.
you were to roll your drugs-related knowledge and critically glitch it, you're like, yeah, no, that's a drug problem.
Can I roll my drug-related thing to get which drugs could be described like it? All the nasal ones, or is it like a slang for a special one?
You can.
I would
roll it and
assume-
you might have some ideas, but it's probably just
Yeah, I mean-
coke.
Or anything that's snorted.
Yeah, honestly, Rod, either he's a cokehead, or he's got a really bad sinus infection that needs expensive drugs he can't get despite working at Dockwagon. Either way, you've got him covered.
Yeah, I mean, I have all the drugs that he wants, basically. But I would like to be sure. I'm not like, hey, I have Novacoke for you. What? I don't do Novacoke.
So we just ask him what his poison is.
Medicine.
Yeah, or you go out to dinner with the guy, and while you're at dinner, you break out a line for your on the table and offer it to him and see what he says.
I'm not good at social engineering. Plus, he probably has some kind of a dealer, I guess.
Studio 54 has been closed for about a century now.
Isn't Novacoke legal?
No.
It's restricted.
Oh. So you do it in the VIP room.
So forget.
Yes.
But I can get it. I think it's 2R. It's not really a big deal, I think.
I mean, realistically, forget what he's ramming up his nose. What questions do we want to ask him, as Dante brought up?
At this point in the plan, the only thing I can think of that we would definitely be looking for from somebody like that is information on other personnel.
Why?
Because we don't know precisely what we want, because we don't know what plan we're going with yet. We know that he's got access. He might be able to provide other information, and he might be able to provide somebody else that we could lean on for whatever it is that we decide we need, rather than risking our contact.
Plus, if he's in a position of power, like, as a spider or whatever, he could facilitate our in. While we're making tests and whatever, he could just, green light our, ID check or whatever, just for a couple of million.
I would
100.
suggest that it is unlikely anyone in a position of great power would need to sell information to an info broker to fund their coke habit.
Yeah.
If you're that high up, they just give you the drugs.
But he could also potentially somehow help us get access to the Matrix. Get access to their network.
The most likely thing is that he's a spider, which would be nice, because he'd be able to put us onto somebody else we can lean on.
Not necessarily. He could also just be a general IT person.
He could be a janitor picking up pages off of desks.
So first of all, it would be nice to know who he is inside.
Ideas.
So,
what do you do would be the first question.
Maybe we could find that out before we meet him.
Maybe. Can we, Bamce?
That sounds like a Matrix search.
I mean, you got 8 hits.
it's either that or we subscribe to LinkedIn, and nobody wants that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be like, he's just going to tell you that, like, his security guy, he's going to tell you that his guy works in security, but, he's not going to go much farther than that.
Okay. So, a security guy. So what would we want from a security guy? to help us while in, or just general info on the security? This is also a lot.
I mean, so there's a couple things there. One, personnel information, like I just said. Two, maybe we don't need to hack the personnel database. Maybe he can just hire one of us.
Well, we don't know how high up he is as a security guy. We also, leaking some information is a lot different than actually getting somebody access or helping somebody break in.
I would vote that I have the contact to him, but I don't go meet him, so I give it to Dante or Sue. Because I assume we will want to talk to him, right? Or something.
Well, I wasn't thinking we make him fake an employee record. I was thinking we apply for a job and send in a recommendation.
We'd still have to go through a lot of security clearances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of hurdles to jump over.
So it sounds like you guys have a lot more planning and articulating of stuff you want to do. Do you want to take it during the week again, or do you want to do anything else tonight, or?
I was hoping we can at least finish with the security guy tonight, so that we just have probably most things checked out.
Can we do it over the RP channels?
I think that's going to be best. I don't think we know enough to start talking to him yet.
Yeah, because I'm starting to wind down, so I would either need a break to splash some water on my face, or
if it's that bad, we can use one of the in-character chats, and I will. We can pop in and off to roll dice.
I mean, I am kind of glad about what we accomplished. I mean, it took a lot more time than I assumed, like the whole session, but we got some valuable stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for a purely legwork session, I think this is solid.
Now, I don't mean to be pessimistic, because that's Hex's job, but how far into the week are we?
You're only like one day. Maybe
cool.
Late into that day, basically, because
that was a productive day.
Well, you guys did stuff. Like, you gave Hex a data to get her shit back under control, and then she did some hacking, and that didn't work out great. But you thankfully didn't use your sprite that you have, so you still have that on hold somewhere. You then started to work your contacts, and your contact gave you some. You got a giant pile of hits, gave you some really good information and some other information by association. And then you started putting together a plan based upon the information that you gained. So this is the hardest job you guys have had to do from a strictly number of dice opposition are going to be throwing.
I'm pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
Also, guys, do not forget to thank your really awesome job your hacker did for you today.
Yeah, did you rebuild your hacker the way Bamce gave you, the supplement or whatever? Because if you didn't, you're probably rolling way less dice than you should be rolling, and that's a really bad thing.
I will give you an A for effort.
I kind of rebuilt them the way Bamce had done it, but I didn't want to change all my skills and stuff and reestablish stuff from the ground up of being I just purely built them to be a decker. If that makes any sense. I want them to basically more or less be the same character, just with some of the advantages of the rework.
Okay, because the way I see, either no hacker has a chance to beat a host that big, or you are underpowered in some way, or hindered, or I don't know.
Well, it's a rating 7 host, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that it's throwing 14 dice at stuff.
So
it's 17
dice.
Hosts are rating +0, rating +1, rating +2, rating +3 to their attributes, and they can move them around as they will. So it is
Oh,
rating +3, usually in firewall or data processing, um, because there's no reason for it to have its high attribute in attack or sleaze. It's just there's no reason for it. Um,
right.
so it's rolling 17 dice.
Yeah. I will say though,
So,
and this is hindsight 2020, but probably if you go for another Technomancer in the future, have a closer look at the complex forms because they're kind of win buttons to an extent.
This is true. Like I probably should have put more points into like I don't know things like puppeteer.
yeah.
But hindsight.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if you'd spec for something, you'd still be throwing probably 14, maybe 16 dice, like at whatever your main thing was. So I
Oh,
don't think that not being able to beat 17 dice regularly is indicative of an issue.
yeah, but I mean, the only thing I was like pointing out is that instead of 14, maybe 16, he was throwing 9. So
Yeah, no, I'm just this is one a learning thing, and like that's why we're here. And
yeah, yeah,
two, I mean, I definitely made some mistakes in my progression, so I'm going to learn from that and move forward.
sure,
Yeah.
sure.
I
And
mean,
also the power of sprites.
Yeah, I mean,
what we really can take away from this is that skills are probably the most important thing in the game, because they provide a progression to the power of teamwork. And anytime we can get teamwork, we definitely want that.
But you don't want to ignore your role. Basically, that's like taking not a lot of spells or not being able to things like that, because a technomancer isn't a straight decker. It's a very different beast.
That's very
It's
true.
it's
But
definitely weird.
yeah, but I'm not like coming down on you, Hex. I'm just like, okay, let's for the future.
yeah, I actually wasn't coming down also. I was just probably thinking more about can you maybe talk with Bams about what you could do better as a technomancer or like any tricks you could use as like strategy wise?
I got all kinds of stuff I can talk to you guys about for options after the run is over about how, um,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you know, I'm not going to give away all
Or
the secrets of things that
yeah,
you could have
I've
done.
already got a bunch of ideas for if I had to do a shaman again, or if I had to do a face again.
Oh, if I
Like,
I looked back at my first character I ever built forever ago. Thankfully, I no longer have that sheet. And I was like, oh God, what a ugh.
well, a lot of it was I wanted to go for a particular concept that I knew was optimal, and I just kind of have to ride that horse. I I don't think I would do it again.
concepts are great, but they have to bend to useless and usefulness as well.
I mean,
Yeah, I
you're
mean
not you're not
it's
useless.
incredibly frustrating looking at this guy who grew up like in a corporate enclave, and like that's pretty much you won't win life at that point. And he knows less about the world he lives in than I did in fucking fourth grade. That's weird. Very
I
strange.
mean, he just lived a sheltered corporate life.
And didn't
Yeah,
learn anything about the corporation that he lived. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
I mean, that's just because you didn't put the points into it. You didn't spend the karma
He,
post jam about
yeah,
it.
he just he knows like two things. Yeah, but no, I have a lot of. I think we could probably even build the same characters again at this point and get at least a little bit more mileage out of them.
There's a because I answer a lot of these questions all the time. I don't recommend people try to do more than two things at a time because you just pull
Right.
yourself apart. And sadly, due to the way the priority table and stuff is costed out, being a troll is a thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like mage face, maybe,
Oh, totally.
but be a
That is
troll
easily
is
done.
filling a role.
Yeah.
Like,
add on a meta type, meta variant, and that's even more cost.
The
yeah,
it is very literally a troll tax because
Racist.
it's they have. Your A and B priority selections are your most important priority selections. Like these are what really like you want to be a cybered out street samurai. You're probably taking A and Nuyen is like the single most important thing to you. You know, if you want to be a mage, you're taking A or B for magic. It is like the single most important thing to you. So since you can only be an A or a B for a troll
Or troll.
becomes suddenly the most important thing to you. Things like dwarves and orcs, they get a lot of free attribute points back so that they can kind of offset that cost a little bit.
Orcs seem pretty strong, like across the board.
Yeah, orcs. The only thing I don't like about orcs is they only get one edge at
C.
see.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, but the big thing, like, you don't get much more for being a troll over an orc, but you get meta type C instead of A or B, and that's pretty big.
Yep.
Well, the big thing about the troll is the ability to put attribute points in it and start really high in like strength and body. That's the biggest thing about the troll. Well, that and reach.
Orcs
Yeah.
are almost there though. Like they don't lag very far behind in anything over a troll. But the difference between metatype B and metatype C is really, really big.
Well, part of it is
Yeah.
a mechanic thing. So the troll, like, part of the appeal there from a mechanical standpoint is you're starting with above average strength and body without putting anything else into it attribute wise. But one thing that I've run into is that if your agility is no good, it doesn't matter a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah,
Because I can't,
If you're trying to
I can't
do
hit
agility-based
anything.
things.
like hit
which
something.
is, yeah, like make contact with someone's puny, weak body.
I mean, if instead of that improved charisma spell you picked up an improved agility spell, you'd have a lot better time doing it.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that the improved charisma spell would get me out of the need. That has not worked really as well as I had thought most of the time.
Well,
But you can improve charisma other people, and you will suffer the dice, and they will suffer the benefits.
I don't mean to put or ask for hex, but if both of you are willing, could you sit down and not talk about how can I better beat this situation, but how can I just play more optimally with what I've got?
Sort of, yeah. That was also what I was. Thank you. It's actually really early, and I'm not. I'm not using the words I want to use. Thank you, Jed.
Sure.
Dude, I'm kind of into that conversation as well, and I'm wondering why nobody's really proposed that before.
Well, I kind of think I had one. That's why. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I've
thought you
gone-
guys had it yourselves, sort of.
Yeah, I went to Bamce asking questions. So, like, I just, I'm not. If both of you are up for it, then I would suggest you take it. Hex, you take advantage of the resource.
Plus, you could just write down stuff that you can do, and it would take way less time, and you could stop using this weird table thing, and it would be probably quicker.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I have trouble adding up dice too.
Yeah, I know.
so-
That sucks.
luckily as a GM, I just get to make things up.
Yeah,
That's why the weird table thing is not horrible.
yeah, that's actually the advantage. I was looking into that because basic math and I don't agree.
Okay, so we have a bunch of information. We only have like one security guy roleplay, I think, ahead of us before we start actually buying and doing stuff, right? We have a van on holdout.
I mean,
So
maybe.
what? Bams, you said something.
Until maybe almost a plan takes shape.
I mean, maybe almost a plan. I hope a plan will take shape during the week while we roleplay the guy, and then we have all the info we kind of need. So we're probably gonna start doing stuff before we start doing stuff on the session, I hope.
Yeah, I've already got some ideas, and I need some time to process everything. And come at it with a clear head.
Oh my god, I've never been so thankful for a high roll on a contact before like that. I mean, we've got
They are powerful.
because that's like the only contact I could have. So I'm really helpful it's panned out.
Let me pop into a moment here. This kind of comes back to some of the GMing stuff I talk about, where like the players are trying to put together a puzzle, right? They're trying to figure out an angle to do this, and I can sit here and I can listen. I can know the method you're trying to get through to get to this puzzle. You're like, all right, we need information before we can complete this. So Hex is like, all right, I'm going to hack the thing, and then Hex throws her face against this thing, and eventually is like, you know what? Sorry guys, I can't do this. You guys are like, all right, I'm gonna call my contact. So as long as you don't bomb the roll, I'm gonna give you something useful because you guys need because if I don't, you guys are just gonna be like, well, I guess we're done then. I guess we're not doing this job, and that's counterproductive. I'm not here just to shut you guys down. We're here to do something interesting. So you are gonna get something useful out of the contact, and then you rolled a giant pile of hits. So it's like, okay, what do you guys want? Because I'm gonna give that to you, and I'm gonna give you something a little bit more because you rolled a huge pile of hits.
Okay, so what if I rolled like 1 hit or 2 hits? It's gonna be like only the ventilation system or only the guy, or because
it would have probably only been like the blueprints because that's a fairly easy thing for him to get because he doesn't actually have to go to the facility to find those. He can get it through the construction company. He can get it through some public record-y type stuff. Like there are plenty of ways for him to get that information without having to interact directly with DocWagon. So I could even on 1 success, I could give that to you, but I just have to take from you in some other way. Maybe charging you a lot more money for it.
yeah, because we paid like pennies for everything.
Yeah, I didn't give you guys a whole lot of information. I'm sorry. I didn't charge you guys a whole lot, but I give you a lot of different parts and pieces of information that you could make use of in different ways and give you guys the option of which of that information you wanted. If you guys were looking for, if you guys just called him up and you were just looking for the blueprints, he would have had that, and the cost of that would have really depended upon how well you rolled. Since you rolled so much, you were like, oh, let me throw in this extra little benefit of of him having it on hand because somebody was just asking about it 2 weeks ago.
Okay. So in this way, a critical glitch is something you can use, but a giant pile of hits is also you can use story-wise, because I'm only assuming this someone else asked for it is a plot point you didn't actually have to come up before the session with?
No, it's something that makes sense. I'll just dispel all the stuff about that right now. Your Johnson, as when you called and you talked to him, he has a lot of parts moving, right? So getting information on this facility is easily something that he would have needed to do, or one of the people that he hired needed to do. Obviously, I'm not going to go far into depth in his plans, but for example, him just having an idea of what kind of building it is kind of tells him on whether or not he needs to hire a running team. If he needs to hire a running team with any kind of super special requirements, like if it's super hardened or has a whole bunch of other random security measures, he might need to hire a team with very specific sets of skills. Kind of goes back into that, like, the Johnson knows the capabilities of your team.
Okay. And just because of my giant pile of hits, it was a happy coincidence that it was Locust who was handling the information.
Kinda. Like, it fed back into the narrative where we established that Johnson has a lot of moving parts going on. The giant pile of hits got you lower prices. It got you the blueprints, the
contractors, and the
contractors, and perhaps potentially most importantly, depending upon what you guys do with it, a guy that you can talk to that works there.
Okay, so let's plan the thing, and let's plan for the meeting with the guy, and I guess you guys want to go to sleep.
Here's the question I have. about the Johnson is that you may not have planned everything that he was doing, but you definitely planned that he was going to have multiple teams on this. And
I definitely plan that there are at least 2 teams involved, because obviously
Right.
one is going to be you guys, and due to your history, Johnson's not going to hire you to kill a high priority, high value target, because you guys
Right.
haven't, for one, proven that that's something that you are willing to do, and proven that you are capable of doing, because a lot of your other runs have been smaller scale stuff.
So the question is, in order to know that he needed to hire a team with our capabilities, or that a team with our capabilities would suit what he needed to hire, he had those blueprints before he ever talked to us.
It is an easy jump that he has either had those blueprints or he has a guy that he's like, hey, I need information about this, and I need to know,
Right.
like an assistant manager Johnson kind of thing, where he's like, I need you to find out what I might need to do this team, or he
Right.
could have done it himself.
So the question is, why on earth would he not have just handed those to us at the meeting?
That's a good question. Maybe part of the bitch out time is to test whether or not he needs to worry about you guys handling it.
Okay.
Some of it can also just be as simple as the GM didn't mention it at the time because he didn't think about it.
That's a big part of it, especially with me. But it's one of those things of like,
Like, just because it didn't come up doesn't mean it was intentional. That's all I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Bamce is
Well, I
not
know.
omnipotent
I
as
feel like we
much
would have
as
gotten
he.
there though, because we asked him about support, and he said he could make support available for a fee.
Right, and if you had gone back to him, he would have probably, because he's a businessman, right? And he could have been like, "Yo, I will use my resources to get you this information, and I will take it out of your expense account." And all of a sudden, he has recouped the money that he lost in acquiring this information in the first place.
Hmm.
And part of it could be like, you guys never came back to him for more information. You guys just came back for clarification about the details of the job, when he was like, no, you guys are like backup. So to him, your insurance that the job itself, because obviously what you guys are doing is not the part that's important to him. Like, you
No,
guys,
I got you. I'm just thinking, if I were hiring somebody to do, and hey, I'm going to need these guys to do, they're probably going to need to break into a facility to do it. I've got a picture of the facility. I've got some blueprints. I'll give them the picture.
I mean, you guys
That should do it.
didn't ask him for blueprints, and he said he was going to give you more information after the week bitch out time. So
That kind of makes. I think what would make the most narrative sense is the idea of validating us.
oh, for sure.
We are not 100% committed to the job yet, so
So,
Right.
on that note, I am going to go Betty Bye.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got to go back to work tomorrow for like the first time in 3 days. Like, I had like 10 days off, but I went into work for 2 of those days. So now I suddenly have to go back to
That's
work.
not how a day off do, dude.
Well,
All
like,
right.
it was a vacation thing, and they called me in, so I was a sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right, guys. So,
yep,
my,
I will talk to you guys through the week, and next week at the latest.
yep.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Sweet.
Bye bye.
Good.
Dude.